Right, so we're here with Meet the Stars. It's a new feature on board. Jamie Allan, it is, it's a new feature. You're actually the first person I'm going to interview for Meet the Stars.
Was this a long plan? And then you were just thinking...
Might as well use Jamie while
Jamie
he's here.
yeah, just to get a bit of a rehearsal.
But it's all right, I'll say this about real. You are a big deal.
Well...
I know you don't think you are, but when I saw your name on the list, I'm like, no, we can't be getting Jamie Allan, because Jamie Allan right now, every time I turn Imagician's TV on, you're on.
I've had a good run recently.
Yes.
I mean, I used to think that a lot of the people that work, you know, on ships like this from time to time, they've often have some sort of...
Absolutely.
I mean, there's hardly anybody you get. I mean, you have people like Jeff Stevenson that come. I mean, he's had his own series, loads of stuff back in the past, and just recently I've been having, you know, maybe my little turn.
Yeah. But well, see, I want to talk about the past. I want to talk about what's happening right now. And the future of Jamie Allan, because it's got to be pretty awesome right now for you.
It's exciting at the moment. Yeah, it's really exciting right now.
Good stuff.
Tiring, but exciting.
And that's the thing. And a lot of people don't realise is that once you've started making yourself a name, it doesn't get easier.
No.
You have to start working harder and harder to keep there.
It gets significantly harder.
Yes.
Yeah, it's... you have to be careful what you wish for. But I mean, thankfully, I love what I do.
Yes.
So it's not about chasing any monetary benefit. That's never been my aim.
Never the... No, that is
I
never the
always try
aim.
to make more and more money because the tricks are so expensive, so I can buy more expensive tricks.
This is true. Well, let's talk about you growing up. You mentioned this in the show of how you got into magic and stuff. Now, talk about some of those early influences when you first got into magic.
Well, everybody's going to tell you the same thing, but I mean, for me, Paul Daniels.
Absolutely.
Because that was my era.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, he had the Saturday night TV show.
He did.
And that was the highlight of my week.
Yes.
And to the point where I planned my entire Saturday around tonight's the Paul Daniels show.
Yeah.
Everything had to be in alignment, dinner at the right time.
Yeah.
Sat down, everybody quiet.
Now, there's going to be quite a few of our guests to say, Paul Daniels who? So Paul Daniels was the magic version of Anton Deck. Because he did this Saturday night variety show.
Like 15, 17 years or something, he was at a Saturday night show. It was huge. And of course, at a time when there was no internet, nobody else competing, very, very few channels, the only magician on TV.
Yes.
So therefore, just a mega star.
And he was massive until he passed away last year, the year before, I believe.
Yeah, it is. And isn't it interesting when you look at today, you can see the final of X Factor or the final of Britain's Got Talent, and sometimes these shows are, hey, we pulled in 8.3 million viewers.
True.
And they're so excited about that.
Yes.
For a major final of the biggest show on TV, like, say, Britain's Got Talent. And then if you rewound to Paul Daniels, he was pulling in 13, 14 million viewers regularly because there was so limited. So the level of success of these people we'll never see again.
No, true. Absolutely.
No.
So early influences were Paul Daniels. Any other magicians? Maybe some
David
of our...
Copperfield.
Oh, yes.
And still is.
Yeah.
I love Copperfield. I'm a big die-hard Copperfield fan. He's still innovating. His show at the MGM Grand is still fresh. It has new magic. Is this incredible thing with a little alien that, you know, must have cost more than my house. this little blue alien that's just incredible. And the annoying thing about it is, you know, he's got more than one of them. You know, there's a spare.
I would have looked into that myself. I'm actually a massive fan. We talked about this. I mean, I've known you for about 3-4 years now.
Yeah.
And the time when I first meet with you, I'm like, look, I'm a big Paul Harris fan, Jay Sankey fan. Yeah. But these are for lesser named magicians, but they're big behind the scenes. And Daryl, the magician's magician,
Daryl.
That's how I learned all my card stuff years ago with Daryl.
Yeah, Daryl sadly passed away.
He did just pass away. The Hollywood the castle. Yeah.
Anyway, this is of no interest, I guess, to most people. But yeah, these magicians are very well known amongst magicians for creating. Yeah. The behind the scenes guys that create a lot of the stuff that you see.
Yes.
The famous people doing.
Yeah. So let's talk about, and I'll be honest with you, you talked about it on the stage when you were on, and you talked about your iPad trick.
Yes.
The digital art.
Yes.
Which is and I like the way that you talk about it. Say, look, you know how it's done, but it is beautiful. It is beautiful, and it's such a well put together show. And that was your game changer.
It was.
That was your game changer. So, because I remember seeing you mentioned it, the one show.
Yes.
And I was just flicking around. I think it must have been when I was on holiday for a change, and I'm like, Jamie Allan's on. I know Jamie Allan. He's on. So talk us about that.
Well, it was basically what I said in the show. I was just about to start a tour.
Yep.
I was about to start a tour, and what I didn't say in the show last night, because it would just get too elongated, was we were desperately trying to sell the tickets, because I'd been working on cruise ships, and I met a guy called Joe Wemborne
Yeah.
on a ship, who was a producer, loved what I did,
Yeah.
and wanted to make me a show. And I was doing some technology bit magic there, but not so featured in the show, but I was working on some things, had some stuff with lasers, and then Joe offered to put some money behind me.
Nice.
And to do a small tour. The first tour was only 13 theatres. A lot of them were only 200 seaters, and some 1,000 seaters, but they were whatever we could get our hands on.
Yeah.
And obviously it's a hard time to try and sell those tickets. So he was marketing them, and we employed a PR agency, and they were trying to get me a TV spot. And it timed with when I'd come up with the digital art. And when the one show landed, we were looking at this bleak booking sheets coming through from the theatre. So we sold 12 tickets. Oh, that one's good. We've sold 70 for this theatre. And then the one show hit, and then all of a sudden the numbers changed.
Sold. It must have been a sellout.
It wasn't a sellout, but it changed.
Tell them it was a sellout, Jimmy. Tell them it was a sellout.
We sold out on the first tour. We sold out 3 of the theatres, and that was amazing.
Yeah,
that was
fantastic.
amazing. But we did all of a sudden good business. There's a couple of places you always go to. You just can't get anybody in for love nor money. It doesn't know what.
Yeah.
There's no rhyme or reason to it.
Yeah.
You know, but then we did 2 theatre tours since then, and they can get progressively larger.
Yeah.
Each time.
That's the thing. So this is how this timeline worked for me. I saw you on the one show, and it was just maybe it is because I knew you, so maybe I was more aware of it. Then a couple of months later, I am on the subway in London. I went out to see a friend in London, and we're coming up at this subway, this long, slow escalator all the way up, and there's the Magicians. There's these signs for your show in the West End.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you kidding me? Jamie Allan, the guy that I was working with, he's now got his own theatre show in London. Because you had Imagician, which is your show, right?
Imagician's my show. We've done Imagician in London at the Garrick.
Yeah.
And then we've done it on tour 3 times.
Yeah.
But nothing as long running as the Impossible.
Which it was Impossible, it was, because it said Jamie Allan and you got other people performing as well.
Yeah, that ended up being me and 5 other magicians. And we split the bill, and it was a wonderful experience because there was no top of the bill.
Yeah.
Because we all put it together based on our individual skill sets.
Yeah.
So I was doing tech, obviously. Yeah. And although I can do sleight of hand and stuff, I didn't do anything in that show because we had one of the other guys did that, and one did Grand Illusions, and one did mind reading, and very, very different personalities as well.
Yeah, great.
Them. So it worked really well. Like an old-fashioned variety show, but modernised with a fantastic set we had and the projection mapping and everything. The set was wonderful. Yeah. Like a big magic box on stage that opened up and had everybody, the whole show inside and closed. It was wonderful.
Wow, so I was like, wow, Jamie's taken off. Then it all seemed in this it probably wasn't 4 months, but in my mind how I've tracked it in this short 4 months time. Then I put it on TV, and I'm not one for watching TV because I work on cruise ships, I'm all the way. And it was just this time I was at home and Michael McIntyre's on. Boom! Jamie Allan comes out with this massive illusion. Yeah, Jamie Allan's just on BBC One. BBC One, Michael McIntyre, right?
Yeah, that was a big show.
That was Saturday night entertainment.
That's like 8-9 million viewers.
Yes.
Michael McIntyre. It's the biggest show they've got. And I got that show though because, again, I knew one of the producers of the show. I did an ITV show called Get Your Act Together, where I was a mentor in that show. So I was like the guy that taught them magic.
Yeah.
So what you'd have is celebrities come in. It's one of these typical ITV shows where they bring celebrities in that don't do these skills and they're going to get their act together.
Right.
So Paul Zerdin was on it doing ventriloquism. He was teaching them ventriloquism.
And he's not on this cruise, but he's going to be...
Yeah. And I was teaching them magic, and I worked with a comedian on there called Rufus Hound, and I was teaching
I do know Rufus, yes.
I was teaching him to be a magician. And we did the soaring in half in this kind of really Camp Vegas style. It was phenomenal. We loved it. And then as a result of that, the producer of that show, because I taught magic, when the Michael McIntyre thing came up and they wanted to do an illusion with somebody, the producer said, oh, it's got to be Jamie, because we've already worked with him on ITV, and he has done this kind of thing before. Yeah. So it was the first time that, rather than me hounding to try and get the job, it was the first time the phone rang and he said, can you do the Michael McIntyre show for us? And it was brilliant. Yeah. That was a good day.
Right.
Yeah.
So we've done the history of Jamie Allan. We're now up to the present. And I remember watching the Rufus Hound thing on ITV. That was the other time I saw you on TV. I was like, Jamie, what are you doing to me? I was on Facebook. I'm watching you. He didn't answer.
Well, that's the day. That's the only day you ever get anybody commenting or talking to you is the day that you do anything on TV. And then the rest of the year, nobody says anything. But on this one day, all of a sudden, your Facebook explodes.
Yes.
And now I know if I see a mate of mine on TV, I wait 2 days, everybody stop talking to him again. And then you can find out what it is you want to know.
Oh, that's brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. So now, now you also mentioned, so this is your TV work. And I was mentioning this before we started filming, that I was really surprised. I can't believe we've got Jamie Allan on working on the Navigator. Now, we mentioned this. Now, we're so passionate here at Royal Caribbean about having the best entertainment. And that's the reason I love working for Royal Caribbean, is how good the entertainment we have. I mean, we had Roy Walker on, we've got Darren Day coming up.
It's the reason I'm here.
Yeah, absolutely. So talk about this connection with Nick Weir, our Vice President of Entertainment at Royal Caribbean.
Well, I've known Nick Weir a long time.
Yeah.
I met Nick when Nick was a cruise director.
That is correct.
An incredible, game-changing cruise director.
Good.
Unbelievable cruise director in the way he could hype people.
Yeah.
Just the way he could get them excited about something that they may have had no interest in, and all of a sudden they were so passionate about it.
Yeah.
And Nick was great with that. He was always destined to do great things.
Good stuff.
Always was. And I was great friends with him. I knew that Nick was very passionate about moving the entertainment product forward. And Nick and I were talking, and we said, do you want to do some on here? And I wasn't doing anything this summer, because we're preparing for our new run of the new version of our show, which is going into the States at Christmas. So I wasn't doing anything for 5 months off. And then they said, do you want to come and do the ships for us? And of course, Royal Caribbean is the most prestigious cruise line for entertainment.
Yes, we are.
There's a real misconception about cruise ship entertainers.
There is. It's the Simon Cowell thing.
Yeah, and it is Simon Cowell. He says,
point your finger at Simon Cowell, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, he says, oh, he uses it as an insult. He doesn't mean it. He doesn't even know what he means. It's just a line for him. But he'll say, oh, I expect to see that on a cruise ship.
Absolutely.
Because he's talking about cruise ships from the 1980s.
You're right.
You know, when it was a floor show. And nowadays, we've got these huge spectacles. These theatres rival anything that you can see. I don't need to tell anybody watching this. You already know it. But you know, when you see people like Paul Zerdin, the winner of America's Got Talent,
we have him on next year.
And he's here. We've got stars of yesteryear and tomorrow, and I always find it funny. There's still a slight misconception because of Simon Cowell, because most people get it, but the odd guest will come up to me and say, "Oh, do you have to pay for your own flights? Do they pay you to be here? You know, you're stuck in a." Down in the depths, cleaning the propeller, and you're like, no, they treat us really, really well. They've got behind their entertainment product, and they want to make it an attractive gig so that they can get this level of entertainment that they want. I'm not talking about me here. I'm just talking about the general product.
You are meaning you a little bit, though.
No, I mean it. I mean it because
You're making it about you now, Jamie.
Okay.
You're making this whole interview about Jamie Allan, which it is. That's the reason we're doing the interview.
So that's my thing with Royal. I think that they have the best product at sea for entertainment.
Yes.
And I was happy to be part of it because there was no stigma attached to working for Royal Caribbean. None whatsoever. And a lot of the, like Celebrity's great as well, you know, that's another company that is owned by Royal. But I think the influence of Royal Caribbean over companies like that, it's amazing how Royal is leading the industry and pulling everybody with it.
Yes. You're absolutely right. No, it is honestly, we are so passionate about the entertainment. I enjoy every show that we have on, and it's so nice for me to be able to go out on the stage and not only share the stage with entertainers such as yourself. I mean, I'm from Sheffield originally. I'm just a normal local lad to be able to step on a stage and say I've shared a stage with Darren Day, Roy Walker, Jamie Allan, ladies and gentlemen. Just because he's sat here, I'm going to say it again. Jamie Allan. He knows Michael McIntyre. I've been on the stage with him.
Yeah.
How well do you know Michael McIntyre?
Not that well.
I didn't think so.
No. He was delightful on the day. Do you know the thing that you might not know about the big show is that Michael produces that show?
Right.
So he is completely responsible for the budget and the entire operation of that show. So he's not hired by the BBC. The BBC pay him to sell them the Michael McIntyre Big Show.
Wow.
So he is multitasking on another level. He's walking on, introducing the acts, and then when he's off, he's at the monitor bank backstage calling the shots, and he's overseeing the whole thing. And that's the side you don't see to him. So consequently, and because his production company's kind of booked me, he comes over and he's very gracious and has a moment as a laugh, but you know that, right, I've done that, now I've got to get back to producing the show.
Good stuff.
It was amazing.
Right, so let's talk about the future of Jamie Allan, and then I want to talk about the future of magic as well, because you are like the league leader for the technology and magic right now.
I'm trying to be, yes.
I think whenever you say Jamie Allan, you do have to think, yeah, digital, magic, moving it forward.
That's what I'm hoping, yeah.
Yes, it's a great brand to have.
Something I'm passionate about, and I think that I'm trying to take the magic out of magic. I'm trying to make it go back to being magical and wondrous, more like Disney or Pixar, than it would be about fooling you, because I think just coming out, doing tricks and saying, ha, fooled you, don't know how I did that, can come across as really arrogant.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a fun way to be entertained. It can make you feel less than the performer.
It does. I've met some magicians that are like that. You're absolutely right.
And I believe that the way to present magic in a modern times, especially when secrets are so easily accessible, if you want to go searching for things, you can find them. And only there you will find disappointment. It's much better to just come in and try and have a night feeling like a kid again. Yeah. That's my whole ethos. Yeah. And I love the digital technology because some of the stuff that we do on our land show is so immersive and has so much scale to it.
Yes.
We put the girl on the laser beams and she gets pulled up into the lasers like a UFO, and all the lasers surround her, and I fly up in the air behind her and she vanishes into the lasers. It's amazing.
Amazing. Good stuff.
We close our current tour with a twist on a Houdini classic, the water torture.
Love Houdini, yes.
Yeah, and I do a thing where I'm sealed in a tank of water, chained up, but we map projection graphics onto it that are like linked with Houdini, and it's incredibly modern. It feels really immersive.
And is this the show that you're doing in Chicago?
That's where we're kicking off, yeah.
Right, so you're starting in Chicago. You mentioned there's 37 dates in Chicago?
37 days in between December 20th and January 7th. And if you start to do the maths, because we've got Christmas Day and New Year's Day off, you realise there's a lot of days where we're doing a lot of shows.
Yeah, oh wow.
On some days we're doing 4 shows on a Saturday. To try and keep up, hopefully to keep up with the demand. Yeah. We've got a 1,500 seat theatre.
Nice. Which our theatre is about 1,200, I think.
Yeah, so it's very comparable to this.
Yeah, good stuff.
We have over 50,000 seats on sale at the end of this month. So that my primary focus is going to be working with a PR company to try and shift some of those.
Yeah, absolutely. No, good stuff. Right, so, and then after that, now, I was talking about, saying, well, surely, I mean, that the mecca for all magicians is Vegas.
It is, yes, it is.
So what's the plan?
We almost went back into Vegas this year, but we were going into a venue that isn't constructed yet, and it hasn't been started yet because there's been a bit of a change in the management there. So we are looking. In the meantime, we do have a plan for a long-running show, possibly on Broadway.
Right.
Possibly on Broadway.
And how is that show constructed? Is that fusing like the Broadway-style shows with magic?
It will be a version of Imagician, which has already been written, which is a little more highbrow, and slightly more narrative.
Right. Okay.
That will fit more with the Broadway audience.
Brilliant.
But when we say going to Chicago, we're doing far more of an explosive, large-scale family show with cool tech and exciting things you haven't seen.
Brilliant.
But because it's a Christmas and a family show, a little less of education.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Because a lot of the stuff that we do, we try to make it informative so that people feel like they've learned something. So, but when there's a lot of children there, I try to scale it back a bit and give them a few more big tricks.
Yeah, good stuff.
And then we're going on tour. So the plan is at the moment to...
so the tour, where's the tour?
US, so East Coast and West Coast, and of course Florida. We're going to Florida. And then a few other select venues along the way.
Oh, brilliant.
That's just piecing together at the moment. I've got a list of venues that are confirming at the moment, and our producers there are just trying to now shape them into a logistical operation. So we're hoping to do that from January, end of January, through till probably April, and then we might make this move into this other venue.
Fantastic.
Or we will go to Las Vegas again.
So any budding magicians who's watching this, not just children, but adults as well. So there's some people that get into magic later in life and they, I really want to start doing this and I can start. What words of advice do you have for any budding magicians?
I would say the best kept secrets in magic, and if you want, is to be original. That's the #1 thing, is be original.
Yeah.
If you want any level of success, if you just want to learn some magic to impress your friends, and even to a certain level if you want to work professionally as a close-up magician or something, you can you know, if you're a budding magician, you can go out and buy tricks and they're fine.
Of course you can.
And it's great. But if you want to do any real work, you have to be original. And I think that the secret to that is stepping away slightly from magic, not immersing yourself so much in it, allowing your own mind to come up with your own ideas, and looking at really old books, really old magic books.
There's some really good...
Best place you can... If you want to really keep a magic secret, write it in a book.
It is. Do you know what still my favourite show is? Favourite book?
No.
Mark Wilson.
Oh, the complete course in magic.
The complete course. There's a trick at the back of there that I still do now to this day, and I've fooled magicians with it. I've had literally magicians go, I don't get it.
Because it's hidden away in the back
and
of the
book. It's hidden at the back of the, and it's a silly little trick. I've got two friends that are in Fuerteventura and then one in Vegas, and I says, oh, I used to do it as a magician, I'll do this for you. And they were like, do that again. And if you can get that, and that is the wonderment that most magicians are looking for, because you've talked about this. Yeah. Once you know how something's done, that wonderment, it disappears. But when you can still do that, well, it's amazing.
It's lovely when you get fooled. Usually it doesn't last that long.
Yes.
But the best you can hope for if you're a good magician is occasionally you're not expecting it, and you do get it for a moment. You're like, what? And then your mind puts it together.
Yeah.
But I think that if you can, look in the old books. What you said, it's amazing. You can find these things, and don't get too obsessed with trying to fool magicians.
I think what a lot of magicians they get really involved with the technical side of thinking, oh, if I do this really technical trick, actually there's sometimes less wonderment from a technical trick that's only good for the magician and not for the guest point of view or the person who's watching the entertainment. And I remember that because you did a really cool version of Ambitious Card in your show.
Yes.
And it was genius how you did it. And even I'm watching it with Nose Ambitious Card, I'm like, that is how you presented it. Again, making it your own.
Do it very simply, actually.
But you made it your own, though. You did make it your own. I thought it was a great routine.
We say that, but then I released some DVDs a few years ago that were to help magicians. So I put some routines on there, and one of them was the Ambitious Card. One of them was my presentation for the little trick with the stick man that moves.
Love card too, yeah absolutely.
And then and Jamie Raven picked that up, did it on Britain's Got Talent. Always credits me with it, which was very nice of him. But the same with the Ambitious Card. It's funny, if I do come on a cruise ship and there's been other magicians here, they'll often say, oh, the other guy did that, and it's nice because they bought my video.
Yeah, good stuff. Now, let's talk about Britain's Got Talent. There was 2 magicians last year that were absolutely outstanding. Do you remember the guy that did the magic around his family?
Oh, that was Mark Spellman?
Mark Spellman.
Yeah, he's a lovely, lovely guy.
Even I watched that and I was like, oh, magic's on the way back. Magic has got to be on the way back because he was amazing.
He found something there that made an emotional hook. Difficult, I think, to monetize it, but he was outstanding. Yeah. And it wasn't about that for Mark, because he's not driven like that. He just wanted to do something that was real. Yeah. And something that he could show his daughter when she was older. Oh. And he certainly achieved that on many, many levels.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it was outstanding.
Well, thank you very much. So I think we've asked you so many questions, Jamie. Thank you so much for helping us. And we are so lucky here at Royal Caribbean, especially with that connection with Nick Weir. Amazing, thank you very much. Is there anything else? Yeah, honestly, pleasure. Yeah, pleasure.
I'm very pleased to see you again after all this time.
I walk around and say, I know Jamie Allan, just so you know, I know Jamie Allan. That's you are now one of my claims to fame. Roy Walker, Darren Day, and Jamie Allan.
You put this on YouTube and watch how many hits it doesn't get.
That is too true. Thank you very much. Good luck for the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want you to have too much luck because I want you to come back to be on the cruise ships.
I'll come back again. I will come back again.
Yes.
When I have a break, it's a really nice thing to do, and I like it. I get to try new material in a nice environment for great audiences in great theatres. It's who wouldn't want to do that?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right.
Right. It's goodbye from us.